has taken it upon himself to be the biggest opponent of President Trump, and that is Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. And we're going to talk about the allegations, and it only took him 3 hours to resign. As Donald Trump Jr. said, I thought he would drag this out for 6 or 7 hours. He resigned very quickly, and it is kind of interesting to go back and look at the history of Eric Schneiderman. He and Donald Trump go back a long time. Eric Schneiderman was grooming himself to become governor. He had a lot of show trials that he would participate in. Had a lot in common, actually, with Mueller, and has actually worked with Mueller and has tried to ensnare people in New York, people like Michael Cohen, so that they could be under his control, trying to set himself at the center. Maybe he had aspirations that were higher than the New York governorship. But that has now all come crashing down in an amazing display of hypocrisy. We're going to take a look at his legislative record, at his advocacy record, and at his real record that 4 women have come forward so far and talked about. They revealed this in a New Yorker magazine article. Ronan Farrow, Mia Farrow's son, is the one who broke this story again. There as he was with the Harvey Weinstein information. So we're going to take a look at that. But we're also going to take a look at the Iran deal. Let's break a deal is what I think is going to happen today, this afternoon. President Trump said he is going to announce his decision on whether or not to remain in Obama's deal. And he's going to make that decision this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Said you can increase tax revenue, increase tax rates, and tax revenue will increase up to a certain point. And then at that point, it's going to level off. And then if you keep increasing it beyond that, you're going to get decreasing revenue. And so they said, we need to get to the point where we have maximized revenue out of our tax slaves. That's what it looked like to me. It was also trying to explain to the Democrats that tax cuts were good for their budget, since they don't care about your budget. But as we look at this, it was an article that was on the Drudge Report today. The average American worker works more than a medieval peasant. How about that? They have figured out scientifically how to ride us so that we don't die in the saddle. And they said in the casual laborer in the United Kingdom in the 1499, so they actually had a little bit harder than we do, but we're working harder than peasants. 1,811 hours is what the average American employee now works. We have far less vacation than those in Europe and so forth. They take, Americans are lucky if they get 2 weeks of vacation. People in Europe are taking 4, 5, 6 weeks of vacation, especially in France. France, they love their vacations. We have, speaking of vacations, we got a lot of boomers retiring. We have a record number of people who are not in the workforce. 95 million people are not in the workforce. And Social Security beneficiaries have topped 62 million for the first time. Social Security, I will remind you, has always been a Ponzi scheme and a lie. It was created by Otto von Bismarck and put in their Social Security legislation was a retirement age of 65. They chose that age because that was the life expectancy of people in Germany at that time. They didn't plan for anybody to get any of this. It was simply a dodge. It was a lie. And we'll talk about some of that type of stuff when we talk about Schneiderman coming up in the next segment. But it's always been that way. And as we started to see birth rates decline dramatically in our generation in the U.S. and Western Europe, and we were told, well, it's just because people are more prosperous, women want careers, they've decided that they're going to delay childbearing, it's all sociological. No, it turns out it's highly physiological as well. We have seen documented spermageddon, rapidly crashing sperm rates, so that there's a physical thing that's going on here, not just a sociological aspect.